Hello student, very good morning to all of you. How are you? I hope you all are happy, healthy and fine at home. Do you remember what were we discussing yesterday? I think we were discuss about the chemical shift. How chemical shift is measured, or what is a mathematical expression, and how it is useful for structure determination. This type of the discussion we have seen, along with different instrument is used, but the chemical shift value never change, it remains constant or remains as it is. So that's the conclusion we have. Now the chemical shift mathematically will be, in short, delta is equal to V sample minus V TMS divided by V instrument, frequency of instrument, into 10 raised to 6. This is a mathematical expression for the chemical shift, and it is denoted by symbol delta, and it's what we can call it as a, it is measured of that delta in a parts per million, means ppm parts per million. So that are the thing. Now the what is actual range of it? Generally, if you remember in physical chemistry, I think pH meter, generally there is a scale starting from 0 to 14, right? That is a pH meter. Suppose that the pH is a 7 and it is almost as a neutral. So water has a pH is a 7, means it is a neutral half. And if the pH is less than 7, that solution is termed as acidic, whereas those are showing its pH greater than 7, that solution are termed as a basic. And similarly here the chemical shift value, that delta value, are generally measured in what? Suppose let us see, in a previous lecture we have determined, we have measured, or we have calculated the delta value for chloroform. So if you see the spectrum of that chloroform here, the scale in a spectrum, how it is represented. Suppose there the chloroform, the peak is observed here, and this is a TMS peak. Now here generally as a scale here, starting this is a peak due to TMS, this is a peak due to chloroform, and that peak is generally produced by that hydrogen atom. Here the scale is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here 7.5, 7.2 value. I think 7.28 or 7.2 value due to the this. Then here maybe as 8, 9, and 10. These are the values. Generally delta values start from 0 to 10, but in a larger scale generally 0 to 16 delta values are there. So pH scale normally 0 to 14, but here as far as a TYBSc is concerned, you can remember this is a scale, but actual 0 to 16, that is a delta scales are there. So here the shielded proton absorb at higher field, and therefore they will have lower delta values. Second point you should remember, de-shielded proton absorb at a lower field, and if you remember this key, this is known as, this is upfield. Upfield means magnetic field, and this side is called as a downfield. This is a downfield, upfield, and this side, as we know that tetramethylsilane is the most shielded proton. This is a shielded proton. This side is called as a shielded proton. Shielded, and this side is called as a de-shielded proton. De-shielded proton. This side, de-shielded proton. High, this we can call it as a high field, up field or high field. This is called as a low field. Low field. Sometimes it is referred high field. Sometimes it is referred as a low field. Now the delta value, if a down field is there, then delta value is a high. Delta value, high delta value. Here is a low delta values. These are the terms you should remember while learning these PMR spectroscopy. And thus, as a shielding increases, delta value decreases. Shielding increases this side, so delta value decreases. Delta value decreases. And delta value decreases, and as a de-shielding increases, delta value increases. Shielding increases, delta value decreases. De-shielding increases, delta value increases. That's the particular reason. Delta value increases, de-shielding increases. De-shielding increases. Delta value decreases, shielding decreases. Delta value decreases, shielding decreases. So that is a thing you should remember. Shielding and de-shielding means whenever, and as we know that proton is never alone. It is, there is a bonding pairs are there. When the external magnetic field is applied, the circulation of that due to the electronic environment around it, and due to that there are the regions generated or created, and that a proton is fallen, in which region two regions are generated. Generally one is a shielding region, another one is a de-shielding region. If protons are fallen in a shielding region, there is a decrease in delta value. If protons are fallen in a de-shielding zone or region, the delta value increases. That's the simplest basic principle you should remember while learning the chapter. So relation between delta scale and tau scale. Here one more thing you should remember regarding as a chemical shift. What is that? The relationship between delta scale, relation between delta scale and tau, means TAU, tau. This is a pronounced tau scale. This delta scale and tau scale. Mathematically, delta is equal to 10 minus 2, or we can say that 2 is equal to, if 2 comes this side, delta comes, so 10 minus delta. That's the so simple mathematical expression. Delta is a 10 is equal to 10 minus 2, or tau is equal to 10 minus delta. So that is a relation. And now we are going to discuss the next point will be chemical shift and molecular structure. Chemical shift and molecular structure. That is the point which we are going to discuss right now. Let's see chemical shift and molecular structure. Chemical shift and molecular structure. That is the point we are discussing. Chemical shift and molecular structure. Molecular structure. Chemical shift and the molecular structure, that is the point which we are discussing, right? Protons in a different chemical environment are shielded or deshielded to different extent. Remember here, proton in different chemical environment are shielded or deshielded to different extent, either greater shielding or deshielding, depending upon the chemical environment around it, and their different shielding and deshielding are in a different extent. Their percentage of shielding and deshielding are different, and therefore their chemical shift values are different. And definitely, if shielding and deshielding, depending upon their chemical environment around it, what kind of the chemical environment, different chemical environment, so the chemical shift value also in the same way, the extension of chemical shift value, the position of chemical shift value either increases, delta value increases or decreases, depending upon how that proton get affected or influenced by, so their its behavior are different in the different chemical environment, and therefore their chemical shift value are different. Let us try to correlate structural feature and chemical shift value. Structural feature is very important. How the proton and its surrounding molecule, how that atom are oriented around it, depending upon their geometrical structure, the chemical shift value also changes. And by knowing the position of chemical shift, we can predict the approximate values, chemical shift values of those particular proton. And it is very easy once you understood the scale just now we have seen over here. So at in my previous discussion, I will give what kind of the proton, suppose saturated proton, unsaturated proton, aromatic, alkene, aldehyde, or some other. By knowing the chemical shift value, we can easily predict what type of the proton. If the chemical shift value is around 9 to 10, we can definitely say that the proton, the possibility of that proton is definitely the aldehydic proton. Suppose the chemical shift value appear around 7.2, then we can definitely see that the proton may be aromatic, or definitely it is aromatic proton. So, by knowing the chemical shift value, we can easily predict what kind of the proton they are, whether they are aliphatic, aromatic, aldehyde, carboxylic, phenolic, enolic, like that. Similar to as a base value of diene, and or in a previous lecture, just before this chapter we discussed IR spectroscopy, and IR spectroscopy is mainly known for group frequency. By knowing the group frequency or the stretching frequency, the organic chemist easily predict what kind of the functional groups are present in the unknown compound. Suppose group frequency or the stretching frequency appear around 1720 per centimeter or 1715 per centimeter, and this is the group value indicate that the unknown compound consists carbonyl group. If there is a plus minus 100 per centimeter that values are there, we can definitely come to know that there is, because by the shape of that carbonyl group in the IR spectrum is very broad and intense. By looking at its shape, the organic chemist easily recognize that peak, that signal or that band is due to the carbonyl group. And there are some other electronic factors that either increases the carbonyl frequency greater than 1715 per centimeter or less than 1715 per centimeter. The electronic factors like inductive effect, resonance effect, steric effect, hydrogen bonding, these are the some of the factors which are responsible for either increasing or decreasing the value of that fixed group valency stretching frequency of that carbonyl is 1715 per centimeter. Then there is a conjugation also, and conjugation always lower the IR frequency, hydrogen bonding also lower, and that type of the discussion we already discussed here. But in this chapter, by knowing the chemical shift value, the delta values, if appear around 17.2 or 7.3, definitely that protons are aromatic protons. Because PMR spectroscopy, we are focus only and only on the nucleus of hydrogen proton, number of protons, number of type of protons, number of NMR signals are obtained. That is one thumb up rule or general rule you can remember while assigning that. So here we are discussing the chemical shift and the molecular structure, how it will be helpful, that we are discussing. Proton in a different chemical environment are shielded or shielded to different extent, and therefore their chemical shift value are different. Let's try to correlate structural feature and chemical shift values. Consider the PMR spectrum of following compounds. All of them show one peak at the given delta values. Their compound and chemical shift values are given. Here let us see compounds and their chemical shift value. Chemical shift value. Chemical shift value in a delta, and here the compounds. The compound which we are going to consider here. Suppose we have a methyl group, as we know that CH3 that attached to fluorine. These three proton all are the identical proton because they have the chemical environment around it is the same. They are chemically equivalent and therefore they will produce only one signal, but the chemical shift value is how much? It is around 4.3. 4.3. Data values is 4.3. Similarly, the methyl group CH3 attached to chlorine. Once again, this is a electron withdrawing group. This also has an electron withdrawing group, chlorine. Now, the value of that methyl, because proton values, these are the proton values. Chemical shift value is nothing but as a proton value. Here also as a 3 proton, they gives the chemical shift value around 3.1 data values. The same way, the methyl group attached to bromine, here the value is come around 2.7, and here the methyl group which is attached to iodine, and the value is come around 2.2 is the most de-shielded. Here you can call it most de-shielded, and this will be least shielded. This will be least de-shielded. Look at here, shielding and de-shielding, we already learned that. Here only thing is that, do you remember the long form of the periodic table? There is a one family and the family member is this one, halogen family member, right? Halogen family members, the members are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine, and likewise. But generally this fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine, their general electronegativity. Electronegativity, it is one of the physical property of the element. We know that in the periodic table there are 118 elements are present right now, and there are certain properties we already learned while studying the modern long form of the periodic table, and those a few property like as electronegativity, ionization potential, reactivity, electron affinity. These are the point you already discussed in the inorganic chemistry. Here just remember, these are the halogen family member fluorine, chlorine, and bromine. Electronegativity, remember electronegativity. Electronegativity is nothing but it is a power of an atom which have a ability to attract the electron pair towards itself is known as the electronegativity. And that electronegativity in general, the trend of that electronegativity in the periodic table, generally moving across the period and moving from top to bottom in these two ways generally, because in the periodic table, in the modern long form of the periodic table, the elements are arranged by considering their electronic configuration, and the scientists are generally found the general trends, these properties are generally, gradually, or sometime there may be some exceptions are there, irregularities found. Why they are found irregularities or anomalous behavior of some of the element, but general trend of that electronegativity as we are moving across the period, the electronegativity goes on increasing, and when we go from top to bottom, the electronegativity of that element goes on decreasing. And if you see here, across the period, electronegativity increases. The last family, that is a noble gas element, that is a, don't count there in those properties up to the halogen family member, the strength is found in a similar fashion. So the fluorine has the highest electronegative element found in the long form of the periodic table, and after, as we are moving from top to bottom, the electronegativity goes on decreasing, and therefore see the trend you can find here. This fluorine is the most electronegative element in the periodic table. When it attached to the carbon atom, it pulls the electron density around it, and therefore the electron density on that carbon atom goes away or goes toward the fluorine atom. Ultimately, these protons experience de-shielding effect, and because the extent here, the more extent of electronegativity effect found in the first molecule, and that's why the chemical shift value is found to be 4.3. If you see the chlorine atom, which is followed after the fluorine, next element is a chlorine, but the electronegativity of that chlorine is less as compared to the fluorine, and therefore the chemical shift value, the de-shielding effect is less as compared to the fluorine, and therefore you can observe the trend, the delta value should be less, and it is found to be 3.1 over here. And same trend you will observe in the remaining molecule also. Look at here, methyl bromide. Methyl bromide as compared to chlorine, methyl less electronegative, so it can pull the electron density toward itself, but in a less extent, and therefore the chemical shift value also is 2.7, is less than this chlorine. And similarly, in the last, iodine has a less effect, it's a least electronegative among this, and that's why least de-shielding effect will be observed. Here is found to be 2.2 delta values. So this is the way we have seen here how this, as the electronegativity of fluorine is highest, the methyl proton in methyl fluorine are most de-shielded, and therefore delta values is highest. With methyl iodide, the de-shielding is least, and hence delta value is least. As the electronegativity increases, de-shielding increases, and delta value also increases. That is one of the simple principle you should remember here. As a electronegativity increases, de-shielding increases, and once the de-shielding increases, the delta value also increases. That is the thing you should remember while discussing this one. And this is a example we have considered over here while studying this point. I think the next time we will discuss more about chemical shift and the molecular structure by taking different examples, and we are trying to learn how chemical shift values are different for different molecules and how it will be help in future while elucidating the structure of the organic compound. And as we know that spectroscopy is known for the first application of each and every spectroscopy is to determine the structure of the organic compound. Each and every spectroscopy provide the information regarding the structure in either shortest way or in some great extent, but the wealth of information the spectroscopy provides us is very good, and from that the scientists are trying to find out the structure of the organic compound. I think with this, let us stop today here. Remaining we will discuss in our next lecture. Let us stop today here. Thank you. Have a nice day.